Good morning, students. I hope you are all doing well. So today is the first class of your home science after this half-yearly exam. So today we are going to start with chapter number 9, that is fashion design and merchandising. So in this chapter we learn about what are the different fashion designs and how this fashion design and merchandising are related, and what are the different causes and what are the different ways of merchandising a particular fashion apparel or product. So the fashion industry satisfies both the creative urge and the materialistic needs of people. So you hear the term fashion merchandising many times in the previous chapters. So did you ever think what goes into it? So let us understand the merchandising from its beginning or its origin. So you can recall from your early history lessons that barter of the products and crafts was the start of trading practices. So barter system, you know that in a particular community they sell the different kinds of material what they produce to each other. Okay, so that is what we call the barter system. And slowly trading moved to what was available was sellable. So there were no complications regarding this thing. So this chapter is very exciting regarding this fashion designing or the merchandising part. So let us go through this. So fashion design and merchandising will enable you to understand how the fashion business works. So it includes all the processes involved with producing raw materials, apparel and accessories, and the retail stores that sell fashionable fashion merchandise to the public. It is a part of the fashion business where you also learn about textiles, that is the fabrics and the fibers used to make them. Fashion merchandising equips to first respond to what, why and when a style becomes fashion, and then helps to determine its suitability for particular retail operations and for what length of time. So simply put, it encompasses planning, buying or selling. So what we understand that this fashion design and merchandising will let you understand that how the business works regarding this fashion or different kinds of apparel which are sold. How this business works, the business goes and the business involves these particular three terms, so which are this planning, buying and selling. So planning is that how to sell and how to buy the raw ingredients. These are the different plannings that should be going on in this particular merchandising business or whatever. So planning should be going on, and then after the planning should be executed, and when it is executed it reflects in buying as well as in selling. So this simply it involves these three terms. So now one thing has also been said here, that fashion merchandising equips to first respond to what, why and when a style becomes a fashion. So merchandising of this fashion, it is at its peak when the style becomes a fashion icon. So when a different style is available in the market, so the merchandising of that particular fashion needs to be done. And when it is done, when the fashion itself or the style itself gets famous, or when it is available in the market. So now fashion today is a big business employing millions of people in design, manufacturing, distribution, marketing, retailing, advertising, communication, publishing and consulting. So these are the different ways of this, how this fashion, the business of this fashion works. So today to understand fashion design, one needs to understand the nature of the fashion and how it works. So before merchandising this thing, this fashion, so you need to understand how this fashion or the design works. So the fundamentals of the fashion and the relationship between the fashion and the factors that affect it are also essential concepts to be understood. So now what are the different fashion terminology that has been given here? So fashion is a complex subject, and certain words and phrases are often used to discuss various aspects of fashion. So these should be understood in order to understand the concepts of the fashion industry. So before understanding how the whole fashion industry works, so you need to get thoroughly through these terms. So which are fashion? So what is this fashion? Fashion is the style or the styles most popular at a given time. So at a particular time, the style which gets famous or which is available, so that is the particular fashion of that time. Now, what is style? Style is a particular look or characteristic in apparel or accessories. A style may come and go in fashion, but the specific style always remains. So, style means what? Style is a particular look or characteristic in apparel. So, suppose I'm talking about suppose a garment which is suppose a pant or pant for boy, full pant. So it gets at the time when I would say, suppose I am giving an example of suppose Amitabh Bachchan. So when at the time when Amitabh Bachchan used to do the films, so he used to wear these bell-bottom pants. So those were the very famous pants at that time. So now these bell-bottom pants are not that much famous, but it is there. It is there if you find, but it's rare. You can't find those pants everywhere. So it is very rare. But the fashion is there. But this is not the style of this period. So now that whole bell-bottom pants, as the days or the year passed on, so that bell-bottom pants has become suppose a narrow one and elastic, like stretchable. So this is how the fashion is changing day by day or year by year, and different kinds of new fashions or styles are emerging. So this is what a style is all about. Now there are also the other terms like fads, classic. We'll read on the next picture. Okay, so these are the new terms that you will get in this chapter of this fashion and designing. So fads and this classic. So what are fads? Fads are short-lived fashions, can come and go in a single season. They lack the design strength to hold consumer attention for long. Now, for example, like hot pants, baggy pants, and unmatched buttons. So now these are the different kinds of examples which are given for these fads. Now the fads are, as said, it is the short-lived fashions that come and go in a single season. So suppose you can also say these fads as the seasonal clothings. Like suppose at the time of the winter, you will get the winter things. Okay, so which the clothes or the fashions that are available in the winter time are all for the winter purpose. Okay, and also during the summer you will get the things for the summer. So these are the different short-lived fashions which comes. Suppose you are going to visit a shop of these garments. So at the time of the winter, you will see that all the garments of that particular shop has been changed according to the season. Now you will not get anything visible in that shop for the summer time. Okay, now you will get there everything according to the winter one. And again, when the season passed by, so the shop, the person changes the whole garment from the winter one to the summer one. So these are the different short-lived fashions that you have to understand. So now coming on to the next one is the classics. So classic are the styles that never become completely obsolete. So classic, you can get from the name itself that classic means it doesn't get vanished. Okay, so it is always there, like old is gold, as we say, like that only. Classics always remains. Few people they like the classic ones, and few people's majority of them are there who go for the new trendy one. Okay, but the classics are always there. So but instead remain more or less accepted for extended period. Classic is characterized by simplicity of the design, So it has already been said that classic means simplicity of the design. So there is not that much of zigzag or whatever design. So it is very simple and it is classy for the for few people who like those things. So like for example of the classics includes blazer jackets, polo shirts and channel suits. So these things you'll get now, but these are rarely worn by the people of now in these generations. So now coming on to the fashion development. So to understand the working of the fashion industry, one has to have knowledge of fashion fundamentals. First in the sequence is to know how the fashion business developed. Thus, the history of the fashion helps the designer to make decisions for the present day and future fashions. Ideas from the past are often interpreted for today's fashion. Fashion as we know it is relatively new. In ancient and medieval times, styles remained practically unchanged for a century at a time. During Renaissance, Western civilization discovered different cultures, costumes leading to acceleration in fashion change. With the availability of new fabrics and ideas, people yearned for more new things. So as during the time of this this Western civilization who discovered the different cultures, customs and costumes leading to the acceleration of new fashion change. So they changed this fashion technology to the concept that availability of the new thing should be there in the fashion. So they with the help of the fabrics and ideas, people yearn for the new fashions or the new costumes what they want. So now France, as it has been said here that France is named as the center of the fashion because France's dominance over international fashion began in 18th century. Okay, so until Industrial Revolution, people belonged to two main classes, that is the wealthy and the poor. Only the wealthy could afford fashionable clothes, as we all know. But the turn of the 18th century, King Louis XIV's court members became the transcenders of taste, material, making Paris the fashion capital of Europe. So the fashion capital of Europe was this Paris. You all remember this thing. That short question may come from here. So now France became the center of the fashion due to support from the royal court and the development of the silk industry there. So now these are the few terms which you all should know, that is couture. So couture. Couture was the term used for the art of dress making. Okay, so this is the art of making dress. Now a male designer was a couturier, couturier, and the female counterpart was a couturier, couturiere. So now the Industrial Revolution, wait a second. Yeah, the Industrial Revolution marked the beginning of technological advances in textiles and apparel production. So now this Industrial Revolution at that time, it started the beginning of the technological advances in textile and apparel production. So at the time this textile production and apparel production also gets high. So due to the developments, more fabrics were produced in less time. So at that time, at very less time, many of these fabrics were produced. During this time, spinning jenny and power looms were invented. So these are the different ways of producing this textile and apparel productions. Now this gave rise to development of the American textile industry. Okay, so this also somehow gave rise to this American industry. Now the invention of the sewing machine turned the handicraft into an industry. So handicraft was a very small thing which was done in a particular small place. Okay, so it was not industrialized before this sewing machine was invented. So after these sewing machines were invented, the work of this handicraft, the work of the handicrafts was increased. Now people used to do the things with the help of a machine, so the production was also increased. So because of that, this handicraft was turned into an industry. Now this thing democratized fashion and made it accessible for everyone. So because of this, it is now it is accessible to everyone. In 1859, Isaac Singer, so you can write down the name of this scientist who has invented this sewing machine. In which year? It is in 1859. So in 1859, Isaac Singer developed the foot treadle for the sewing machine, which left the hands free to guide the fabric. And early use for sewing machines was to make Civil War uniform. So the early use of these sewing machines were, in which purpose it was done? It was done to make the uniforms for the Civil Wars warriors. Now in 1849, fabric intended for tents and wagons covered was used to make to make the long wearing pants with pockets for tools by a young boy, Levi Strauss. So Levi Strauss, this is the scientist who invented this kind of long wearing pants with the pockets for keeping the tools. So this was made with from these tents and wagon covers. Now later these became popular and which are called now as the denims. This was the beginning of the cloth specially made for the laborers. So the labor for the purpose of the laborers, these denims were made previously. So this was the beginning of the cloth specially made for the laborers. This is the only apparel that has remained same for the nearly about 150 years. So women started wearing separate skirts and blouses in 1880s. This was the step forward manufacture for ready-to-wear clothes for women. Now length and waistlines could be easily adjusted, and this made it possible for the working class to add variety to their wardrobe simply by mixing separate. Now in 19th century, affordable fashions were made available for the general public, fairs and bazaars. So now at the end, or rather at the starting, from the starting of this 19th century, these fashions were available for for selling purpose or for the public. Okay, like in bazaar or in a market, in there also these kind of fashions were available. The traveling merchants brought cloths to these markets, and both buyers and sellers usually bargained. So who are this called? The traveling merchants, they are called as the traveling merchants, who directly from the industry they take these garments and come into these bazaars, and from there the one who wants to sell, buy those things, and as well as the merchants who want to sell, they come close to each other, and then this business starts from there. Now fashion evolutions. So we'll keep it up to this only. Next day we will start with this fashion evolution, how this fashion cycle has been evolving. Okay, so till then go through this one up to this, and